I've had a bit of a revelation. I think that the concept of the separation of church and state mattered so much to the founders of the United States to include it in statements about who we are, right? That we were going to have a separation of church and state. Because they were used to living under the rule and the spiritual oppression of a group of people who claimed themselves to be divinely appointed by God, called themselves kings, set up a theocracy, called it a monarchy, and made it seem like only they could appeal to the highest authority, which is God. That they were the intermediary, essentially. Both spiritually, politically, economically, like they could do no wrong because they were appointed by God. So no wonder the founders of the United States were like, no thanks. So I'd like to make some correlations here. A theocracy is to a monarchy what MAGA, far-right Christian right-wing extremists are to democracy. So what does that mean? What I'm saying is, I believe that the ultra far-right conservatives who are attempting to take over not just our government, our culture. What do we accept as real science? What do we accept as people's self-identification? You know, what rules do we want to make about morality that we want to establish for everybody in this country? The far right, especially Christians who are far right, really truly believe they're the ones who have the right to do this, and all the rest of us are idiots because they believe they're appointed by God. And that's why we have to have separation of church and state, because it's insane. What they're essentially saying is the buck stops with us because we have a direct line to God. So if you don't like what I'm saying, you don't like what God is saying. And that is so manipulative and controlling. You can't actually have a democracy if you think God is appointing people or saying only one kind of person is right. And they act like Trump was appointed or anointed by God to lead this nation. I know it because I've heard Christians say that stuff. They believe they have the moral upper hand. They believe it.